I can tell you the exact song that was playing when I did the thing I've been pretending was a secret with an expiration date. Mr. Brightside, obviously, because the universe has jokes. The bar was one of those rooftop places in Nashville that sells hats and hangovers, and the MOH ordered shots like she was dealing cards. I was 32, wearing a white bride tribe sash even though the bride was already crying over a margarita, and I wasn't anybody's maid of anything. A guy with a jawline and a baseball cap told me I had wifey eyes, which is a stupid compliment that still works on women who should know better. I cheated. Once. On the Bachelorette Saturday, between a neon cowboy and a mechanical bull, in a hotel room that smelled like spray tan and salt. I hate that it was cliché. I hate that I liked the feeling of being a main character for a gross minute. I hate that I walked back to the Airbnb at 2:40 a.m., showered hard enough to scrape, and told myself I'd buried it under hot water and denial. I married Eli 3 months later, and thought the vows put dirt over the night for good. A year after the trip, the secret didn't blow up. It just leaked. Not because he found a lipstick stain or a stray text. He found a statement. My half of the Bachelorette Airbnb split. A Venmo note that said, hotel for after party LOL, and my phone photos counted 1, 2, 3, then skipped a whole hour between a boomerang of us in matching cowboy hats and a sunrise over Broadway. He didn't accuse me like a detective. He asked questions like an engineer. Why did you pay for a second room when you already had one? Why is there an hour missing? Why did you tell me you came home at 1 when your Uber receipt says 2:38? I froze. I lied. I cried. I confessed. He didn't scream. He started running. Okay, he said, and put his hands on the counter the way he does when he's measuring a cabinet. Thank you for telling me. I need a plan. Then he laced up shoes I didn't know he owned and ran 2 miles in his old gym shorts and the t-shirt from our first 10K. A charity thing we did when we were still the kind of couple who did things. When he came back, he didn't ask for choreography. He made it. No counseling right now, he said that first night, voice calm in a way that felt like a closed door. No joint statements to friends. No, we're working through it posts. I'm not performing repair for an audience. You'll send me a timeline of everything. You'll tell me the scope. You'll get a full panel and send results. We'll split the bed for now. I'll sleep on the couch. I thought the couch was a temporary punishment, a scene. It became his address in our home. He didn't ice me out at work events, or embarrass me at dinner with his parents. He didn't tell them anything, not because he was protecting me, but because he was protecting himself from turning my sin into his personality. He handled the boring things. Trash night, the DMV, the quarterly property tax like clockwork. While he rebuilt everything else from the studs. Eli had always been handsome in a soft way. Dad jokes without the dad, tall without knowing what to do with it, the kind of man who remembers to pack chargers for both of you. After Nashville, he started going to the gym at 6 a.m. 4 days a week and meal prepping like a surgeon. He swapped beer for sparkling water, got a haircut that had something to say, and told his boss he wanted the client-facing projects. He went from reliable to promotion material in a quarter. He bought 2 suits that fit like decisions and wore them to meetings and funerals and once to pick up takeout, just because he said he liked how the world held the door a half-second longer. He didn't flirt with women. He didn't download an app. He didn't show me what it felt like. He just leveled up. And he did it politely, like he was apologizing for the noise while he demolished a wall. We did try counseling in month 3, because I insisted. The therapist was neat, lemon-scented, gentle, and useless for what I wanted, which was a shortcut. She said things like betrayal trauma, and trust accounts, and safety behaviors. Eli listened with his hands folded like a good student. When she asked him what he needed from me, he didn't say grovel or proof. He said, time and consistency. When she asked me what I needed from him, I said, to believe I'm not that girl. He looked at me with eyes that were both kind and unpersuaded. You were, he said. I need you to build evidence that you aren't now. Evidence. The word landed with a thud I could feel in my teeth. I did the homework. The transparency, the passwords, the history dumps. I sent the lab results. I followed a boundary that wasn't written down, no bachelorette trips, no girls' weekends, with the people who told me, what happens in Nash stays in Nash, no drinks alone with men who called me trouble as a flirting style. It wasn't Eli's rule. It was mine. And I hated that I resented it and needed it in the same breath. People say men glow up after heartbreak like it's petty. Eli didn't glow up to spite me. He glowed up because he decided he'd rather be a man he respected than one who begged a woman to pick him after she picked being somebody else's story. He found a Saturday morning run club. He learned to cook 3 things that are annoying and delicious: risotto, steak with a proper crust, roasted carrots that made me reevaluate carrots. He noticed the plant in our living room was actually 3 plants and repotted them with a YouTube video and patience I did not earn. And he started getting noticed. Not just by women. Though I saw the way baristas smiled and how the woman at the dry cleaner wrote her number on his ticket even after she clocked the ring. But by the world. His boss introduced him as the guy who saves us when we overpromise. He started being asked to sit in on calls because he didn't waste words. He went from wearing hoodies to wearing a jacket that made every room look like it had better lighting. I hated it. Not because I don't want good things for him. Because the math of it put me next to him like a before photo. At home, he still didn't touch me. He wasn't cruel about it. He hugged me when my grandmother died. He held my hand at my cousin's baby shower when an aunt asked when it was our turn, because some people don't listen to news. He rubbed my back when I had a migraine. But he didn't initiate. He didn't ask tonight, or lean in with a half smile. He didn't look at me like dessert. He looked at me like a person he was trying very hard to see without the overlay of a story. By month 9, I started to feel like I was being abandoned in slow motion. He wasn't punishing me. He was outgrowing the person I'd been. When I brought it up, poorly, snappish, he said something that still echoes. I'm not acting out of your league. I'm acting like a man who knows what his league is. You're either in it with me or you're not. That's not a flex. That's a boundary. He suggested a post-nuptial agreement, not because he was rich or vindictive, but because he said the words clean math like a prayer. If we're going to try, we need to take off-ramps that don't require setting each other on fire, he said. No alimony. Our own retirements. If either of us cheats again, dissipation of marital assets is presumed for anything we spend on it. I googled dissipation at the kitchen island like a student on a pop quiz. It's real, by the way. In a lot of states, you can't get a better property split for cheating, but you can get reimbursed if your spouse spent marriage money on a third party. He wasn't threatening me with it. He was telling me what grown-ups put in writing when promise became a fragile thing. We signed it. It felt unromantic. It also felt like seatbelts. The first time we tried to be intimate again, I cried. Not because of shame or fireworks. Because my body remembered how to want him 30 seconds, after my brain remembered all the reasons it didn't deserve to. He stopped and cradled my face like it was made of blown glass and said, "It's okay. We can try again or not." We didn't that night. We did 2 weeks later, after a long walk and a real conversation, and a meal he cooked badly on purpose, so we could laugh at the smoke alarm. It was good, which is harder to admit than it should be. It was also a single data point on a graph I couldn't read yet. If there's a villain in this, it's my favorite character, the voice that says, "You can have everything and never pay." I believed I could stash a night in a drawer labeled "Not Me," and the universe would agree to keep my secrets, because I wear SPF and call my mother. I believed vows were magic words that could turn a before into a never. I believed his love was a savings account I could withdraw from without checking the balance. Eli didn't leave. Not then. He gave me a year of honesty and watchfulness. He checked in like a man treating a wound he wants to heal but won't pretend isn't deep. Then, one night in month 12, he came home from a run, stood at the foot of the couch where I'd fallen asleep with my laptop, and said, "I'm listing the condo." "Why?" I blurted, though we'd talked about moving a dozen times. "Because I'm moving out," he said, even. Not tomorrow. Not as a threat. As a decision. He had a list on his phone already: realtor interview times, a storage unit reservation, the number of a moving company with 5-star reviews. "I don't want to burn you down," he said. "I don't want you to burn me down trying to keep me. We'll do mediation. No fault. No war. But I'm done being in a marriage where I'm the better version of myself, and you're waiting to feel like you deserve it." I reacted the way people react when their life gets small quickly. I begged. I promised. I pulled out the old trick. This is the first time, the only time. Like the universe cares about fractions. He shook his head in that way that means he's not angry, he's decided. "You're not a villain," he said, and it hurt more than if he'd called me one. "You're a person who made a choice. I'm a person who gets to make one now too." We sold in the spring. The market liked our kitchen and hated our view. We made less than Zillow promised and more than my father predicted. We split what was fair. He kept the suits and the running club and the ability to fall asleep at 10:30. I kept the dining table with the coffee ring and a rosemary plant that takes more care than I would like. We didn't tell our friends a story that made one of us a hero. We told them we're divorcing and declined the follow-up questions. His mother hugged me at Easter in a way that told me she loved me and was going to love me from farther away now. He won. If you need the scoreboard, that's what it reads. He didn't win by becoming unkind, or posting a thirst trap, or making me an example in a podcast comment. He won by refusing to get smaller to match my worst night. He won by becoming the kind of man who lives in daylight and demanding sunlight from the person next to him. He won by choosing the quiet work of becoming someone he's proud of and then asking, without malice, if I wanted to join him there. When I couldn't, or wouldn't, he didn't drag me. He let go. I'm not going to pretend I turned into a monk. I went on dates. I ate dinner with men who thought travel is a personality, and men who asked me about my 5-year plan like they were hiring. I slept with one, then cried in an Uber because I've ruined hotel room for myself. I learned I can buy my own chargers. I learned rosemary dies if you forget it and thrives if you remember, which is irritating and obvious. If anyone asks why we divorced, I don't say, "He thinks he's out of my league," because that's a lie that flatters me. I say, "I cheated at a Bachelorette trip." He tried for a year without humiliating either of us. He outgrew the version of me that made that choice, and I didn't catch up. It's not a dramatic story. It's the kind that ends with a signed decree and a moving truck and a man going for a jog at 6 a.m. On a Saturday he doesn't owe to anyone. There's a run club photo on Instagram of him with a group of people at the finish line of a half marathon. He looks happy the way daylight is happy. Not the lightning bolt, the sunrise. A woman next to him is smiling at her shoe. I don't need to know if she's his girlfriend. I hope she has good boundaries and a sense of humor, and understands the difference between safety and boredom. I hope she likes risotto. I hope she never has to hear evidence in a therapy office. I watered the rosemary this morning and paid my rent, and put the post-nup in a folder marked lessons. If there's a headline, it's not, he became out of my league. It's, he became exactly who he said he wanted to be, and I finally believe him.